I'm just saying hi as I see people come in. Okay, a few people need to mute themselves.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Lourdes, yes, I can hear you. Awesome.
Okay.
Welcome. All right, if everyone would mute themselves, I've started recording, and I thought we'd start out this evening with a fun joke. So let me bring up, I used to work in the help desk, and I can't tell you how many times, whoops, I think I forgot to share my screen. Hold on one second. I got so excited to show you the joke that I forgot to share my screen. All right. So when I worked at the help desk, this was the number one question we would get asked. Oh, shoot, why isn't it coming up? Well, let's do this. See, we all have technical issues. This is the number one question we got asked. People would call us on the help desk and say, where's the any key? Where's the any key? It says to push any key and I don't know where the any key is. So I just wanted to tell you, I worked at a help desk. That was the number one question we got asked, and it was hard to say. It means you can press any key you want to move on. They were all looking for a key that said ANY. So just wanted to share that with you. All right. Before we get started this evening, I wanted to see how people are coming along. How are you feeling about geometrics? How are you feeling about doing the exercises in geometrics? Do you think those lessons are beneficial? I would like to hear some of your comments. Anyone?
I think they're beneficial.
Okay.
I'm a pretty hands-on person, so being able to, go in for a document or whatnot and follow along doing whatever he's doing in the simulation thing really helps me.
Okay, good. And I've already previewed you with it, so some of the stuff he's saying should be familiar to you because you've seen me do it as well. Anyone else care to comment?
This is Laertes.
Hi, Lourdes.
For me, I think I'm getting along quite well.
Good.
Into grasp on things. Yeah.
Oh, Roshanda just asked me about the worksheet. You don't turn that in, Roshanda, that's just for you. And you don't even have to do those worksheets. They're just extra supplemental exercises. So thank you for putting that in the chat.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can we go back into GA as much as we can and redo those activities that we've done? Okay.
You can do them as many times as you want, Ajane. That's what I love about it. So great question. Any other questions?
Actually, for their codes they're using right now, they may not have as many tests.
Yeah, the test, but they can do the lessons and the assessments as many times. It's what Lynn is talking about are the pre and post and practice exams. You may be limited to doing those 3 times, but the lessons and the assessments you can do as many times as you want. The other thing that I'm going to work on tomorrow is making an exercise for you to try on your own in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint if you want some additional hands-on experience. So I'll tell you more about those on Monday. With that being said, today we're going to start day 3, which is word processing part 2. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into Word and some of the things that you can do in Word. The first thing that we cover is manipulating images. So you can put different types of images into your documents. They can be pictures that you've taken with your camera, or they can be pictures that you find online. If you take a picture or you have an image already on your computer, you can manipulate that with a program called Paint. Paint is a program, your kids may be familiar with this. It is a program that just lets kids color, but it's also a free program. It automatically comes with the Windows environment that you can manipulate pictures with. So I'm going to open up my Word document that I have. And remember, I'm using my Alt Tab to go from my different open screens. And I'm using that same document that I've been using. And I'm going to show you how to insert pictures. So on the Insert tab, you will see this area called illustrations. It's the group, and it contains all the commands for different types of pictures we can put in. You can have the difference between pictures and online pictures. Our pictures are those that are owned by you. Online pictures are pictures that are on the web. So let's go to online pictures. And let's look for a picture about coffee. So in this search bar, I'm typing what I'm looking for, and it's going to bring me up different pictures of coffee. I choose the one that I like, life is short, enjoy your coffee, and click insert. And what that does is it brings the picture into my Word document. Did anyone notice what else happened on my ribbon?
It added this is Desley.
Yes, I can see who's talking. Thanks, Desley.
Yeah, it added another group of functions. So you can see the different functions. Is that
Right,
command
so
or style of picture?
Yep, it added the Format tab. And on the Format tab, as Desley said, there are all these different groups of things that you can do to your picture. For example, the first thing you want to do maybe is change the size of your picture. If you knew what size you wanted, you could type in your measurements here. But generally what people do is they grab one of the corners of the pictures until you get that diagonal arrow, and then you, oops, I forgot I have my mouse. Once you get the diagonal arrow, you can size the picture. I'm just dragging that picture to change the size of the picture. I can also move the picture. When you get the four-headed arrow, you can move the picture, and if the picture won't move the way you think, it's probably because of how the picture is set to wrap around text. So this little button right here can help you with text wrapping. And if you cursor over these different buttons, you'll see you get different text wrapping. So if I wanted the text, the picture in front, you see how I can just move it anywhere on the page that I want, and the picture is in front of the text. You also have things like correcting the picture. You can soften the picture or brighten the picture. You can change the picture style here. So let's say I wanted it to be in a circle, or if I wanted it to have an edge around it, you have all of these different options you can choose from. You can also crop a picture. Does anyone know what cropping means?
I do want to talk, but I want to give others a chance to talk.
I just saw Roshanda. Roshanda, yes, she put it in the chat. You can, it's not really resizing it, it's cutting off the picture in a certain position. So let's say if you had a picture that you took, but you only wanted just you wanted to cut out everyone else. That's what cropping is. So you can crop a picture. Let's take this picture and we go to the crop button. When you hit the crop button, you get those little black cropping handles all around it, and you can drag those. Now, this picture doesn't necessarily make sense to crop, but you see how I'm dragging and I'm just focusing in on that picture. When I hit the crop button again, you see how it got rid of all the stuff that I chopped off. So that's what cropping is. One thing that's fun that you can do with a crop picture, I'm going to bring that back to the way it was, is if instead of hitting the crop button, you hit the crop drop down, you can crop it to a particular shape. So you see how I cut that picture so that it's in the shape of a heart. You can spend hours working on pictures. It is very fun, but it gets a little addictive once you start playing with putting pictures into your document. I'm going to go now down to the bottom of my document and just hit enter a few times. There's some new things that have come out in the last, gosh, I think 3 months in Office 365. You have icons that you can insert. So there's a lot of fun, different icons. You can scroll through this list. They can be sized, just like the other ones. You can change the style of them, okay? You can change how they're wrapped, you can crop them. So those are fun. And another really fun one are 3D models. If I type in, my son is a science major and he is right now studying for a final himself. So I downloaded a 3D model of the heart. And when I go look at the heart, let me just move this picture. I wanted to show you, here, let's do this. I just want to get it on a new page so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. Look at the 3D model of the heart. And when I select on this, if I put my insertion point up at the top, you see how I have that little arrow? I can spin this around. And if I go here, I can rotate the heart 3D model. So those are two new cool things that have been added in Word, icons and 3D models. They definitely will test you about how to insert pictures. All right, I'm going to pause for a moment and see if anyone has questions or comments. When I don't hear anything, I think you're not listening. Do you guys like the 3D models? Do you think you would use that?
It looks kind of
So
creepy.
how does it?
It looks creepy.
Okay.
There's some other ones. You can do cars. I just chose a science one because that's what my son was looking at. Okay,
So
yeah,
how does it
moves.
print? Like with the 3D, how do they print? Like,
You
it
know,
just
it's not
print
gonna,
off a
it's not
still
gonna,
image?
it's gonna look flat if you print it.
Yeah, moving ink.
Yeah.
That's gonna come in the year 2030, maybe, right?
Well, like what I'm asking is like, do they give an example of the still image that will be printed, I guess?
So see, when I took my cursor off, well, it's still, I guess maybe if I pause, if you go to File, Print, there, that's how it's gonna print.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mhm. Just something fun. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about are tables. So tables is kind of the modern way of doing tabs. Last night, I told you how to set tabs when you're entering columns of data. Tables are columns of data, and you get this intersection of a column and a row. So this is where you would type information, and you can set up these tables, and they're much easier to use than tabs. You don't have to set the tabs or drag those little arrows across the ruler. You can also use the sort key. So let me switch back over to my Word document. I'm going to get rid of that heart so we don't creep everyone out. And I am going to insert a table. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab, and I'm going to look for this Table button. And when I put in my Table button, you see I get like little grid, and I can specify the size of the table that I want to create. I'm just mousing over those options. I'm going to create a 2x2 table. Now, when I create a table, you should have noticed that I got two new tabs that appeared on my ruler, the Design tab and the Layout tab, and these go with the table object. You also have this little button up here that has a four-headed arrow. This four-headed arrow is just a quick way to select that entire table. So I'm going to create a quick little table, and I'm going to say classes, and then I hit tab, and I'm going to say day and time. So you notice I didn't have to show my ruler. I didn't have to drag things to my ruler. I didn't have to say where I wanted the columns to break. It's just real easy. I hit the tab key to go to the next row. And let's say my class is Business 100 and it meets on Mondays at 9 a.m. And then I have another class and it meets
See that?
Tuesdays and Thursdays. Did you have a question?
Yeah, when you went down, did you just have to hit tab again to get that third row?
Excellent observation. Yep, that's all you have to do. And then, so Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 to 1 p.m. And then I hit tab again and it automatically creates a new row. And then I have a math class Mondays and Wednesdays from 2 to 3. So this is
Now, what happens if you want to delete that
Okay, let me
last
show you
row?
that. Excellent. If you wanted to delete a row, you would select the row by using your mouse pointer here and selecting the row that you want. Oops, I just inserted, sorry. You select the row and then you can go to the layout and delete the row. So there were two new tabs that appeared. The design tab changes the look of the table. For instance, if I applied a style to this table, orange is my favorite color, so I'm going to choose this orange. Okay, notice how it formats it. It looks pretty good. And I only clicked one button. If I go back into that table, I can change things like the borders. The layout tab allows me to do things like insert, delete. It also allows me to change the width of the column. So let's say I wanted this column to be skinnier. There's a couple of ways you can do it. One way is you put your cursor on that line between the columns until it comes to a double-headed arrow and you drag the column over. That's one way. Another way is to select the table using that four-headed arrow and use this auto fit button and say auto fit the contents. And then to make this pretty, I'll use something we did last night, which is alignment, and make it centered. So I can drag columns to be wider. I can insert rows. I can insert columns. So tables making data that is in columns and rows very easy, very nice to make an attractive looking table. All right, I'm going to get rid of that blank row. And I'm going to show you that also in tables, you can do a sort. So if I select those three rows and I go to the sort button over here, I could say sort that in descending order. Let me get all of these selected, sorry, sort in descending order. So now they're in descending order, means Z to A. So something for you to play around with. Inserting tables, using the tab key to move from one column to the next. And by the way, the shift tab will take you backwards through the table. Looking at what's on the layout tab and what's on the design tab of a table. I just changed the style. All right, questions about tables or comments on how you may use it? Have people used tables before? Or is this something new?
What were you asking that, or were you answering someone else's question?
No, I'm asking, is this,
Well, I think they're useful. I think it's just more efficient to just pay someone $10 to do it.
well, it depends if that's your job or not, right? If you can find someone to do it for you, great.
I did use that doing my son's project.
You used it for your son's project? Great. All right, so tables.
Actually, pretty cool though how to learn that. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was harder than it was.
Yeah, once you see this, I mean, sometimes you see a document and you think, whoa, this is so cool. How did they do this? But the more you learn about what you can do with Word, the easier and the less impressed you'll be when you see some of these documents and you can say, wow, I could do that. All right, last night we talked about columns. Remember, I said that columns can be used like if you're doing a newspaper or newsletter kind of document, and you will find columns on the layout tab. I did show you this last night, so I'm not going to show it to you again. Just kind of a reminder. The next thing, and people love bullets and numbering. I don't know about you guys, but I'm one of those people that I make a list of what I need to get done every day, and I love checking things off. I'm a little anal that way, I imagine. But Word makes it very easy for you to create a bulleted or numbered list and to customize those bullets. So if you want to make some fun or more personalized bullets, you can. You will find bullets and numbering on the Insert tab. So let me flip over to Word, and I'm just going to hit Enter a few times so I have some blank space to work with. And I'm going to say to do, and then I'm going to hit the Enter key. I said bullets were on the Insert tab. Or excuse me, on the Home tab. Did I say the Insert tab? That might have been an error on my side. Yep, that's an error. I got to change that. I can choose from the bullet library. I'm just going to choose the dot, and I'm going to start listing the things that I need to do tomorrow. You notice as I hit Enter, a new bullet is created. Okay. If I want to, I can select those 3 items in my bulleted list, and I could define a new bullet. Let's see what that looks like. Let's say I wanted a picture of something. What do I want a picture of? So you see how I got my bullets are little hikers. So it's fun to be able to customize your bullets. If instead of a bulleted list, you want a number list, you can hit the number and change it to a numbered list. Now, if you hit Enter, it's going to hit and create another bullet. If you don't want that to be a number, just turn off the numbering, and then you can type the text. If you want to turn numbering back on, notice it starts with the number 1, but you see this little lightning bolt, and you can click it, and then it will start numbering from your previous list of items. So that's helpful with bullets and numbering. I'm sure you've all used bullets before. Has anyone customized their bullets? Jocelyn, cool. And Rosalind or Roshonda, you have customized bullets before? I didn't show you this, but when you are in bullets, let me switch it back. You can also, when you're defining your new bullet, you can change the colors, the font if you want on those as well. So play around with numbering and bulleting items. All right, quick check. Where would you go on the ruler to put a picture into your Word document? What tab?
Insert.
Insert. Excellent. All right, and what tab would you go to put a table into your document?
Design.
It is insert as well, insert, okay?
Yes.
And bullets and numbering is on what tab? It's on the home tab, right, Maria Cruz? Excellent. All right, now, remember from last night, what is the default file extension that Word saves files as? DOCX, DOCX. Roshonda, I saw you put DOC up there. DOC is an older version. I think it's before 2013. Maybe it even goes back to 2007. I can't remember, but that's the older extension. DOCX is the newest extension. What if you want to open files of other types? So if you want to open files like PDF files in Word or TXT files in Word, you can go to the File tab, and when you click Open, you're going to get this dialog box that is displayed, and you can click this drop-down arrow to make sure that it's showing all files and not only DOCX or Word files. Let me show you what I mean by that. If I go to my Word document and I go to File, Open, and I'm browsing and I'm looking at my computer, this is the drop down. So if it says all Word documents, you're only going to see Word documents. If it says all files, you're going to see all files that you can open in Word if they're compatible. So in the exam, it may ask you to open up a document that is not a Word document, but is something like a PDF file. And you would have to know, to be able to see it, you have to change this drop down. So I'm going to go and I have one on my desktop. And where did I put that PDF file? I think I put it in here. And I can open that PDF file in Word. So just make sure you know how to open files with different files extensions. Now, let's say I was sending Fatiha a document and I did not want her to be able to change it. I want her to know that I marked it as a final document. When I am in the File tab, I can go to Info, and I can protect my document and mark it as final. Oh, hold on, this document, I haven't saved it yet, so let me just save this somewhere. On the info, if you go to File, under Info, you can protect your document, and you can say always open as read only. That way people kind of know that you're not asking them to make any changes to it. You're marking it as read only or in a final document. In order for them to be able to change it, they have to click that little button at the top that says enable editing.
So this is for when you're like you sending in an email, like an attachment, or
Yeah, it's just sometimes what people do to indicate, okay, this is a final. I'm not asking for you to make any changes to it. I'm marking it as a final. It's not a draft anymore. Does that make sense?
well, yeah, I guess I've never shared a document like this, so I've sent attachments and emails to people.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't use it, to be honest with you. Some people do. Have you ever noticed when you downloaded a file from Moodle, how it says enable editing? You have to like
Yes.
click enable editing. Those were marked as final. So when you bring them down, you have to click the button so you know you're enabling editing, and you're not going to be able to change the one that's up on the in Moodle. You would have to change your copy and save your copy locally. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Printing.
Kristen, just a quick rundown. Can you try to do it again so I could see and compare it from mine? Because on my end, I did not have that option. It did show me a restrict permission.
Do you have protect document? Because
No.
you're on the Mac, right, Desley?
Yeah, that's why it's kind of hard to yeah, I don't have that one. I have yeah, restrict permission and manage credentials.
Yeah, so you don't have this protect document. I mean, as I said last night, the Mac version is not of Word is not the same as the Windows version. They're
Okay.
similar, but they're not exactly the same. Even I've noticed when people have the Mac, like some of the template names are different. Some of the colors are a little bit different. Some of the themes are a little bit different.
I wonder if I downloaded the 365, will I have the same one? Like what you have? Or is it gonna be
No,
different?
not if you're on the Mac. The Mac version is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Isn't
It's just
there
the,
an Office Online?
yes, there is Office Online, but that looks different than this version because Office Online is free. And so it's a very scaled down. It's kind of like it's not even as good as Google Docs, to be honest with you guys, if you've ever used Google Docs. I mean, Google Docs will do a lot, but it doesn't do near as much as Word. I wish there was an easy answer. Yeah, Adrian put the Mac is the outsider.
Do I have to have a computer that's Windows?
No, you do not have to have, I mean, you just have, when you test, remember, you're not really in the software. So as long as you are able to find those things on the test, you can still do the test. I'll double check that, but I'm almost positive you can still do the test on the Mac. Because you're not really downloading Word. You're not working in Word per se. You're working, it's like you can do geometrics, can't you? It's like geometrics.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
So the geometrics is simulating what the Windows environment looks like, not the Mac operating system. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. I think it's because most companies use Windows, not Mac.
Yeah, and I know I get into discussions with students all the time. The primary reason is affordability, and it's a more open environment. More people have written to the Windows environment than the Mac environment. So we'll save that discussion for another time, but yes, that is the reason. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about is printing. So printing happens in the File tab. The File tab, by the way, is also called the Backstage view. The Backstage view, because you're not looking at the document anymore, you're kind of going behind the scenes of the document. And when you come down to print, you get all of these different options. You can choose which printer you want to send your document to, how many copies you want to send. Do you want to send all the pages, or do you only want to send a certain page, or pages 1 through 3, or pages 1, 4, just page 1 and 4. So you have a lot of flexibility there. You can print one-sided or two-sided, depending if your printer will allow that. You also can change the orientation, the size, the margins, and how many sheets are going to print per page. If you wanted to. So this is all taken care of in the Backstage view under print. And this little picture over here is giving you a picture of what your printed document will look like. All right, what I would like to do now is ask some questions, and then I want to do, from those of you who don't ask a question, I want to hear from you. What is the item that you learned tonight that you most want to go in and explore on your own? So first, let's start with the questions. And how do you change the size of a picture in Word? Who would like to take that one?
Don't you do like the diagonal arrows on the
Excellent. Who said that? Quentin?
Yeah.
Excellent, Quentin. Yes, you use your mouse pointer and you go along the corners until you get the diagonal pointer, and then you drag it back and forth. All right, where will you find the tables button?
Is that the insert tab?
Excellent, insert tab. How do you select the entire table? There's a quick way to select the entire table.
You press the top left corner. The full
Excellent. Top left corner, and it looks like a four-headed arrow. Can you change the numbering order of a list of items? Yes or no? Who knows? Can you change the numbering order of a list of items? Yes, Maria Cruz, yes.
I've been
Adrian,
saying that.
yes. Yep. And where is the columns command found? Which tab?
The layout.
Layout. Very good, Lourdes. See, I'm starting to recognize your voices. All right, a quick people who I didn't hear from. What is a feature of Word that you are interested in exploring on your own? The thing that most excited you?
Using the bullets to different shapes.
Bullets, excellent, Adrian. Okay, customizing bullets. What else? Kayla, I don't think I've heard from you. Are you on tonight?
Yes, I am on. I don't know. I guess I just get overwhelmed with everything. But the thing is, I would just want to know, like, the one thing that really gets me is the files and stuff, and like how, I don't know. I guess I always want to use a file for something, but I know that you don't always have to use I guess I'm just kind of confused with that, like with the schooling and stuff, where you said we just had to put the percentage in and stuff. So stuff like that kind of, I guess I look too deep into stuff. I don't know if that makes sense.
So you're saying when I ask you to put your score in?
Yeah, but I'm saying just overall, like I just look at things and I guess I look too deep into things sometimes. So it's like I don't know. But I'm excited about just everything, I guess.
Okay. You know what, Kayla? I understand there's a lot that we're learning right now, and you only can take it one step at a time. And so pick, one or two things that you think are going to be helpful, because you're right. There's a lot of information, and we have people who've been using Word for a long time and are picking up new little things, but then there's someone who's never used Word before and everything's new. So don't just try to concentrate on a few things. You can't get it all. I can't go and do 50 push-ups. I got to start with, can I do one? And then I slowly build up. So don't get overwhelmed, okay? Remember, this is our last class for this week. So you now have 3 days where you can kind of reflect on what we've been working on. And the biggest thing I would concentrate on is Word. Play with your Word. Look at your lessons. If you have Word on your computer, open up a document. Try typing a poem, typing a recipe. Using, like if you're doing a recipe, a great thing would be to use the table, because you put your ingredients and then, your instructions. So think of a little project that makes sense to you, that you're passionate about. If it's baseball, enter baseball scores, whatever you're passionate about, it'll stick better than what I'm passionate about. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so don't get yourself overwhelmed. Jocelyn, what's something that you want to go experiment with?
I want to experiment with the bullet points. I, for the longest, did not know how to change the numbers and all what you showed us how to do, how you could skip numbers. So I'm going to try that.
Okay, so, and if there's things that when you're, you know, playing with on your own and you have questions, at the beginning of class, ask me to review it. I have no problem, you know, doing that. And if we were face to face, you know, I'm more of a face to face person, and, you know, unfortunately, none of us can be face to face, but I love walking around my classroom and helping people individually. And I know something that Anthony is working on is even coming up with a tutoring schedule so he could work with you guys one-on-one. Because sometimes in a big group, you don't want to ask a question. You feel like, oh, everyone else knows that. I don't know how to do that. But, you know, if you could set up 15 minutes or a half hour to work with him one-on-one, that would be really nice, I think, as well.
Kristen, I have a question.
Mhm.
So, on Gmetrics, there are certain instructions for you to do like whatever they want you to do. So when we take the test, do we have to do it according to the instructions, or do we just do the
Okay.
shortcuts and show them the outcome they want?
Okay, this is what I'm going to tell you about the test, Desley. And when we, you know, I hate talking about the test the first week of class because it just brings some people anxiety, but some people like you need to know. So let me tell you this. On the test, you are not in the real program. So if your first method doesn't work, you're going to have to know that there's another way to do it, and you're going to have to do it the other way. You don't have to necessarily follow their exact steps, but they only so if they tell you you have to use the shortcut key, you have to use the shortcut key. And then if they tell you that you can't use the shortcut key, that means you can't use the shortcut key. You will see at the end, if you want to, Desley, work ahead, there is a practice exam, which is very similar to what the real exam looks like. It is, let me flip over to, where's my geometrics? In geometrics, it's way down here at the bottom, this practice exam. If you wanted to, you could play with it. But as Lynn stated at the beginning, you might only get 3 opportunities to go through it. But that will give you a feel for how the exam looks. They look a lot like your exercise labs.
Okay, thank you so much.
Can you take those as many times as you need?
You may take, that's what we were talking about that at the beginning. You may watch the video training and the exercise labs as many times as you need to. The practice exam, I think you only get 3 times.
Oh, okay. Because I noticed because like I was telling you how I'm having problems with my labs and stuff, I noticed it says 1 attempt, or, you know, I didn't know if I
Yeah,
had so
it
many
just
attempts.
keeps track, but I mean, I've done mine over and over again.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
And remember, Tatiana, you're gonna use it from the browser instead of the desktop.
Right.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
All right, well, any other questions or comments? All right. If you want to stay after, Anthony's going to stay on if you need some additional support. And Anthony, maybe at that time, you can talk about the tutoring that you're going to set up. So I am going to stop recording, but go ahead and stay on the line, and you can get some help.
Real quick, was Fatia on tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Tom, could I meet with you on the Saturday?
Yeah, we can set something up for Saturday.
I was trying to make a class. I mean, to see if anyone else wanted to, if they need help, but mostly for myself. I kind of was trying to get some help.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna head out. We're finished up with class, though, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Shoot me an email or a text to let me know about what time, so that way I can reserve that time.
That's what I was saying. Well, because remember I told you yesterday I got a hectic schedule. I wake up early, bro. But yeah.
Not 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh no. I'll probably be like you're early, like 9. 9, okay?
That's good. That's perfect.
Okay, está bien. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
And then Anthony, you'll have to send him a link with Zoom or something.
Definitely. I'll set that up today after this session.
Okay.
But yes, I will have a schedule set up for next week, so that way,
Okay.
if anyone needs the help, they can definitely reach out to me.
Okay, great.
Thanks, guys.
Anyone else on the line that needs some additional assistance?
How do I put the grade in for the pretest or the?
Okay, Maria, let me show you how to do that. I'm going to share my screen with you. You can also just tell me, but just so you know how to do it. So if you go to our Moodle site and you click on the pre-assessment score link, click on that. Oh, I'm not in as a student. Hold on. I'm in as the teacher. If you click on the pre-assessment score and then at the bottom, it says you can submit your grade. You just type the number that you got, like 55%, and then you submit the assignment.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You as well.
Anyone else on that needs help? All right, I'm going to sign off.
Yeah, I guess it's just us.
Yep.
Everybody signed off.
All right, and I do think that doing some of those exercises, Anthony, with some of them, I think it would be better to do almost one-on-one.
I agree.
And if you need any help, I'm willing to do some as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe I can get so the Moodle will have a lot of the resources I'll need, right?
Yes, I'm
For
going
the most part. Okay.
Yep. So tomorrow what I'll do is I will get all 3 exercises done. I actually printed some things off tonight. I will submit them to you first just to look over, see if you have any questions or if I need to be a little more specific. And then once you give me the thumbs up, I'll post them in Moodle.
Sounds good. And like I said, I'll work on that schedule and I'll have it to both of you guys by the end of the night.
I'm wondering if we could do, if you put it in a Google sheet or just put it in Excel and then we could share that. If you give it to me, I could share it with everyone so that they can just sign up.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we
that
want
works. I
them
think that's
getting
cool.
comfortable with cloud,
Yes.
cloud computing and collaborative work. So definitely.
Yeah, I love that.
Speaking of that, I need to hand off Anthony the attendance sheet so you can start doing that.
Okay. Do you want me to?
I did count the screen, so that was good.
And so Anthony, you know what? Why don't I just touch base with you tomorrow and I can Glenn, are you comfortable with me giving him access to the Google Drive?
I mean, you can share it to his
To
email.
his, okay, all right.
'Cause that's what I was gonna do. I was just gonna share
Okay, all right, do that.
Whatchamacallit, yeah.
Yeah, do that. Okay. And Anthony, if you have any questions, I will be around my desk all day tomorrow. Because we can't do anything else.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you guys. Have a good evening.
All right. Good
Yes,
job.
okay.
Hey, I liked you, Joe. I got it. I dealt with mine was not the any key. It was oh gosh, it was so common. My computer won't turn on. That was the most common one.
And they didn't press
Did you check the power button? Well, back then they had switches on the back of the machine.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Or another common one was they would step on the surge protector.
Oh,
They're in a cubicle. And so,
yes.
you're constantly stepping on it and you never realize you
Or
turn it
people,
off.
I remember when the mouse first came out and people were like, wait, how do I get up to that corner? I'm off my mouse pad. I'm like, you just, I would lift up their hand and go, okay. The 90s were fun.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
All right, I will
Okay.
talk to you. Have a good one.
I'll email you guys. Have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Bye, Anthony.